how to level the workloads by yourself, and finally we will talk about how to level workloads by project itself. First, there are a few fundamentals we need to remember before we start identifying overallocations in the project. So the first thing is every project ideally needs to have a team and team members to start executing these activities. Each team member, apart from their skill set, name, and cost information, every resource will ideally have a calendar associated with it. So if you look at Microsoft Project 2010, which is what the topic is going to be, there is an option available through which you can customize the working time of the individual resources. So the way you can do it is go to the resource, that is the project ribbon, and you need to select a change working time. So let me give you a small demo of how this can be done. So what you are currently looking at is the project 2010, where you have an interface, a tab-based interface. So this is what we generally call as a ribbon in project 2010. So if I have a resource, let's say a resource called Sai, the way you add it is go to the View tab and you have a button called the Resource Sheet. So through the resource sheet, you can go ahead, type the name of the resource which you want to include as a part of your team, and just go back to your project and you can find there is a button called Change Working Time. So you can select Change Working Time, which will allow you to look at the working time of that current resource. So currently you can see this resource works from 8 to 12, 1 to 5 with respect to the company. So this is ideally the way where you can look at the working time, and there are work weeks. As an example, let's say if I want to set the working time from 9 to 1 and 2 to 6. The way to do it is you need to go to the work weeks tab on the bottom, and you can see by work weeks we are trying to say the default working time of the resource. You can see the working time is currently being displayed on the right here, and that is based on the default work week. So I'm just going to the work week default. I can click on details, where you can select the weekdays which you want to ideally change. So I'm going for the third radio button, where I will say it is 9 a.m. to, let's say, 1 p.m. and 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. So this is the approach which you need to ideally follow to configure their working time. But if I want to make 16th of August as a holiday, you can go to the exceptions tab and you can say holiday, which means that particular day will be automatically made as a holiday with respect to that resource. So going back to the slides, so these are the two options what we now discussed. So every resource will have a calendar that is associated with it. More than the calendar, another information which you can configure at a resource level is the availability of the resource at a project level. So if I go back to my project again, I can just double click the resource what I just added. You can find there's a small table called resource availability table. By default, project assumes every resource is available throughout the year and is allocated 100%. So you can try to put a criteria saying is allocated only from this week till end of this week 100%. So what does this signify? When I hit the OK button, and if I change my current view to a view called resource usage or resource graph, you would be able to find on those days the resources allocated to your project. Which means if you give work to that resource outside this boundary, you will be flagged as an overallocated resource. So this is the point what we just discussed. But the catch in Microsoft